Anyway, all right, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
We're back.
We are back. Were we gone?
No, we weren't gone last Wednesday, were we?
No, we were here, weren't we?
Yeah, we were good. Yeah, William was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. How do you think Will's doing right now?
So I turned off the game about halfway through. I don't know what the final score was, but it was bad.
It was 70-20.
I didn't know it was that bad. Oh shit, that's hilarious. So
now, don't. Let me say this. Okay, so William. Okay,
why was it that bad?
I'm gonna get his post-mortem on this eventually,
Okay, right.
but the bottom line is William had predicted this as a loss. He'd written it off as, he said, just loss number 3 is around the corner. We're playing the Dolphins. This is gonna happen.
Right.
I don't think he saw this.
No, 70 to what?
70-20.
20. Wow, almost a 100-point game, man.
Well, almost a 100-point
like
game, and that would mean that 70% of it belongs to one team.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's insane. In fact, it's like higher than that now because it's like 90-point game and only 20 of it went to one. Yeah.
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 So, the percentages are fucked up. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I didn't check my picks yet today, so I'll have to go take a look at them. But I know, like, my fantasy team's already cooked, so it's only, what, week 3? Fucking auto draft did me dirty, man. So, but then I was watching a lot of college ball yesterday, so because I was tied up in a place with one channel on, and I watched, and I watched fucking Colorado go down in flames to Oregon. So,
did they? I didn't see. I know that they won the first 2, right?
They won their first 3. Okay. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And then, yeah, because they beat Nebraska, TCU, and Colorado State last week. Yeah, they beat the
did they?
last week.
Okay.
Not by much. It was actually a really tight game. So it went to double overtime. So it was crazy. So,
okay.
But, the other one, they fought Oregon yesterday. It just got completely called out as the frauds I guess they are.
Are they? Well, it's
I don't know.
They lost to 3. As a matter of fact, I mean, those are 3 good teams. CSU is not a bad.
CSU's not a bad team.
Mm-mm.
Big Red's a little overrated. They have been for a little while. I'd say the toughest out of those guys is probably TCU. So
that was my understanding because I didn't know, and Will said that they were not expected to win that game.
They were not.
It
was kind of a surprise. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that was the football fun that was yesterday. I didn't actually watch that much football today. So,
well, you were busy. Right?
I was busy, but I watched a little bit when I got up, and then because the Bronco game was on when I decided to leave today. Yeah, because I watched like maybe the first quarter and a half, and it was looking pretty bad, man. So I mean, they were just looking like. They were running circles around him. So,
it's funny. I looked at the final numbers, and passing was pretty equal.
Yeah.
But the running game was non-existent on Denver's side, and it looks like Miami fucking ran at least 200 yards on them. At least 200 yards, and Denver had Dick for rushing yards and 2 fumbles. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'll get Will's post-mortem on it when that comes up. When I see him next.
Out. Yeah. So, he might be out this week. I don't know. So,
well, he's going to night shift.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, you're here for that, right? Yeah, because he
might have been.
Yeah. He's going on pussy night shift. And,
pussy night shift.
Well, because that's the stuff that he can, like... I think he can do it from home.
Oh, that's nice.
I think, if I recall correctly, I'll find out.
You could theoretically podcast from home. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's that shit that he was doing before. So.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So yeah, there's that situation. So yeah, 70 points. 70 points. My Patriots won.
I did see that.
Not by a lot, but they still won.
I think I picked them this week. Yeah.
Good. Well, they played the Jets, so.
Right, yeah. So I'm morally opposed to picking the Jets in any contest. So.
Well, the Aaron Rodgers Jets, yes.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's supposed to get a miracle surgery so he can come back and fuck up their playoffs.
Well, Will said. Yeah, the playoffs, yeah.
Playoffs!
All right. You say so.
You're just going to skip to the end of the movie, yeah?
Okay. He jumped in at the end credits, huh? Okay.
Right, yeah.
All right. Aside from that, the only other thing was...
Yeah, I didn't realize how, like, ridiculously optimistic that sounds from the outside, now that I think about it. Yeah.
Oh, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Because that would mean that in the stewardship of the team would fall to the other person who would have gotten them to the playoffs. And then you say, Mr.
Right.
Rogers, please come in here and take us to the big game and win the big game. Given that you fucking blew up your
Right.
your leg on like the first drive of the first game. So
Yeah, I was, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was almost immediate.
I would be interested to see what his season statistics are.
Like, you can measure him, I think, in, like, active seconds. Yeah. So not go past 3 digits.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he's positive or not.
I don't
have
know.
no
Yeah, he
idea,
might
but-
be negative.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah. No, I didn't watch that much today. So, but I gotta be blunt with you, man. I'm back into it. So,
Yeah?
it's kind of
Okay,
fun.
that's
yeah.
cool.
So, and there is a lot of it on right now because of the fucking strike. So, is there news on that?
Yeah. So
are they resolving it or not?
well, so the story is that so the two big heads, Bob Iger and David Zaslav from WB, were in the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing that the heads put out was, we have submitted our last and best offer. Now, the debate here, because the second meeting was supposed to be today, and I haven't heard that it's resolved yet. But they said that it's all but agreed upon except for the language.
Oh.
Now, I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that's going to do. All I know is that 5 months has gone by and nobody has given a fuck.
No, nobody's giving 2 fucks.
Not even a little
Not
bit.
even a half a fuck.
No.
Yeah.
No. So,
It's too bad. I kind of wanted that to keep going for a while.
well, what I found out was so their plan to basically starve the fuckers out was curtailed by the mayor of Los Angeles, who said that we'll cover you for 6 months.
With what? Pay?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah, they said they'd cover the strikers for 6 months.
Okay. As opposed to cleaning up the homeless? Right. Yeah, okay. Got it. Did I say the quiet part out loud? I don't know, man. So, my understanding was that LA had been getting better lately about that. So, but then to turn around and, like, completely bail out an entire group of people who, like, are almost single-handedly responsible for the bullshit that happens in your city. So,
Well, what do you want? I mean,
Yeah.
this is the thing, is the offers were solid. The major contention point, and this part I cannot understand, right? This is some union BS, and this would be like, if this were a sticking point for me as a studio head, I would have agreed with the guys and just said, like, okay, no problem. We actually, in response to union this, we will no longer hire union workers. Right?
oh, okay, a lockout.
And just said we don't work with unions, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
I would have done this because one of their points, one of their 2 big points, is that you have to have X amount of writers on staff, and that's not up to you. You have to have this many writers on staff,
Yeah, I've heard that.
which is fucking retarded,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't need that many, right? Number one, you don't need the extra opinions. Number 2, you don't need the extra people just sitting around here getting a credit for something that they're not doing, right?
Right.
And at that point too, it really fucks up, like if you have any kind of meritocracy, right? This just spits in the eye.
It's a union. There's no meritocracy.
Well, yeah, and then the second point, of course, is whether or not that they're allowing them to use AI to basically generate the script, and then have a couple of punch-up guys come in here and take because if you think about it,
what's going to stop you from like cutting a script using the Chat GPT or whatever, and then just submitting it as your own work? So
well, that's part of it is basically like flipping around and saying the writers are saying, well, that's my job. Don't take my tool away from me.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because
I suppose that makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I don't want them to win anything, but I mean, it's kind of like, all right, so you work in the machine shop, all right, and we invent a new lathe. Okay. It goes to the machine shop.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I'm loath to actually give them it's like, all right, it's a fair point, but I don't really see.
Well,
yeah.
So this is the point that I'm driving at here, right? Is okay. One of my biggest problems that I have with basically modern storytelling, right? And you can. I'm not going to use the dreaded Jordan Peterson postmodernist moniker, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
But it's too big of an umbrella. Right.
That guy's gotten a little weird lately. So, but anyway, I don't want to derail your point.
No, it's totally fine. The biggest issue that I have here is a lot of it comes to the structure they have now is structureless. It is just stuff happens, okay, and occasionally stuff happens that people like remember. Okay, it's incredibly lazy. It's not. If you remember, this is what I'm talking about, is if you go to 10th grade fucking English, right, and they make you fill out that chart, and it says, all right, we are reading the lottery rows, okay?
Right.
Fill in the parts on this little scale right here about where is the climax, where is the
tension,
where is the rising tension, right? The problem that I have here is that the story structure has been completely abandoned, right? Where you don't have a genuine. This is the biggest thing. My biggest problem with writing right now is there is zero setup and zero arc, and you can't do that without the proper structure.
It's told by people who have no personal stories of their own to tell. So
or know how to tell them.
Exactly, and so I mean, yeah, and so I mean, the strike can go on forever as far as I'm fucking concerned, because eventually somebody's going to want to make a movie again.
Well, yeah, and they will.
And they're gonna say, "Fuck this shit." So
no, but my turnaround point on this here is like, okay, so if you have somebody at the studio that actually knows how to build a structure, they say like, okay, well, you're gonna write the new Indiana Jones. It's like, all right, tell you what, here are the basic things that I want to happen. Okay, I'm gonna plug and chug here, and it's gonna come up with a 3-act structure that follows the beats of things that need to happen.
Yeah.
Then you take that and you say, but it needs personality.
Yeah,
right?
You need to zhuzh it up a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. And you grab, if you're smart, you grab one screenwriter,
right?
Okay, and you say, do this. Okay,
yeah.
If you have to hand it off to a second person, you trash that, right? Or if you're working in the writer's room for like a TV series, okay, you take the baseline. Here's the script. Here's what we want. Here's what has to happen between Sam and Rebecca this week. Right?
Yeah.
This is the major stuff. However, you guys can go ahead and fill in the jokes all the way. At least I know, I have the structure that I need.
Yeah.
And you guys have interspersed it with whatever fun stuff that you have.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't need as many of you.
No, and I mean, you can tell a movie that's had a list of writers a mile long. It's just it's a rolling piece of shit that it's trying to tell 9 different stories.
Continuity's a fucking joke.
Continuity's terrible, man. So yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, there's been a few movies that I've seen not too long ago that were actually really fucking well done. And when you see a movie that's really well done, and it's nice, tight, like the script just kind of moves right, the plot moves along, so it's got it's trying to do what it's trying to do with its own theme, so it's either, got a little funny or it's a little satiric or whatever, You can tell it was written by a guy. So
yes.
Yeah, or maybe like 2 people, so.
Sure. Well, and the point, I mean, that's the other thing is when you're in that position and you have to make cuts, right? You make cuts because it's interfering with the progression of the story.
Right.
You don't make cuts because you're like, well, this isn't funny enough, right? That's not the point.
Yeah.
Right? That's not the point. You're taking away the emotional arc.
Right.
Right? This is where you and I have discussed this here. This is where most modern comedies are fucking unwatchable because
You can't watch it. Yeah.
that's the thing is all of those movies had a solid structure. They were actually a movie, a story, right? Whereas you can tell that this shit is like, this is bare bones. This is just an excuse to tell jokes and ad lib.
Well, yeah, and you get the two guys that you want to be on the movie. You get that lined up first, then you write the fucking movie. So yeah, it's
you might as well be writing it day of.
So
Yeah.
now, to be fair, there have been some movies that were like that. That turned out pretty well. But,
Okay, yes.
the classic example being Jaws, which was basically gone right from the typewriter over to the fucking, the beach.
Yeah, but how much, okay, so at least with Jaws, okay, so number one, I know
there was a novel. There was a novel, yeah.
Right? What is that, Benchley? Peter Benchley?
Peter Benchley,
okay.
yeah.
But number two, weren't a lot of the rewrites done based off of, we expected to be able to do this, but this didn't work?
Exactly, yeah. And so
that's a little bit different.
Well, no, I know, yeah. It's like they didn't actually just pitch the whole thing. Hey, we're going to show up on the beach with a bunch of cameras and a giant fucking rubber shark.
Right.
We're just going to crash it into things and see how it works. No.
Right.
It was like the giant rubber shark sank again. The water's really cold.
You picture that, just the list of people that are just pissed off. They're like, it didn't work again. They wait another 6 hours, right? They're like, we got it this time. All right, and go. It's not working, guys. It's
That happened a lot. So I saw a documentary on that a while ago where they were actually, I think it was called Bruce. So
that's the name of the shark.
Yeah. So I think that's the name of the documentary or something like that. It was like My Friend Bruce or something like that. And it was this maybe 45-minute thing. I mean, it might have even been on Netflix or something like that, where they talked about all the mechanical issues they had with the sharks, because there were 3 of them. So, and
right.
Yeah. So they had that, there was one that was built by a completely different outfit who didn't even realize that they were going to do it in salt water, and so nothing was corrosive resistant on it. Yeah. So they got it wet once. Yeah, no, it was kind of an interesting one, but I mean, that's completely different than the quagmire they find themselves in right now. So yeah. Drinker had a good video on Disney out today again. So said something about Bob Iger getting his head out of his ass, but it's too late. He was, his basic premise on this was, it was like, too little, too late. You're too old. So you've got an organizational structure here that's too sclerotic at this point in time. So
Well, okay,
I mean, he's a little down on it, but
Well, no, he's right. No, he's right. I mean, and it's just his job to watch this. I mean, the difference between him and us is that, yes, in his place, the thing that he has to deal with all the time is there's just as many, actually not just as many, there's more Disney boosters than there are detractors, right? And so there's been this interpretation of information and things, and it's just the slip around where it's like, no, actually the stock being at historic lows is great. Time
to buy.
The potentially looking to sell to Apple. No, this is a good thing. This is all like blah blah blah. And
I don't think the government will let them do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Frankly, it'd be something that
I could see that that would be one of the instances where, the Republicans actually would turn to the SEC and say, no, this one's cool. You can go after this one, guys.
Well, look, I guess the thing is, I wouldn't want Disney to be bailed out of the situation they put themselves in. This is something where it has to be a learning experience, and this is the
you need to be disciplined.
Well, Iger said he was quote unquote quieting the noise, right, regarding the culture war, and this is the problem I have: is you're not quieting the noise. that's intrinsic on you. You're the one making the noise.
Yeah, exactly. You're the one who has turned down stereo, dude. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're the one who's made these insisting, movements to say, no, we're going to tell the audience what they want.
Yeah.
Okay? Despite the fact that the audience has been speaking with their dollars, despite the fact that the audience has been canceling the Disney Plus subscriptions, or if you look at the actual ratings, not watching their stupid bullshit, right? The lesson from this is still, it's like, no, we're still going to turn this around and we're going to make this what we want it to be.
Right.
And look, I get it. There's an artistic side of this, but I will always defray to this. You have to make the shot first. You have to make the story worth a shit first before you inject your bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see if they start to tone it down, man. I just noticed, like, all right, so I've been on the Twitter a lot.
Have you?
Yeah.
What are you doing back on there?
That's where there's a bunch of guys that I didn't realize were really active on Twitter, but guys that I read their Substacks and shit like that. So I was like, well, okay, so this is how you guys notify me that you're putting something out there. Cool.
Oh,
all right, fine.
Okay. All right.
So I'm sorry, the X app, so or whatever it is.
Fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, they said like 70% of people still refer to it as Twitter anyway. So
yeah, that'll go away eventually, but there'll be those guys who's like, I remember when it was Betamax, but anyway.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So, but, there's like so there's this interesting read that I read like maybe like 3 or 4 days ago that was actually like chronicling culture wars in America. That shit is old, dude.
Starting from when?
Looking like 1640.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So yeah, no, apparently this is just like something we do. And it like boils up every 10, 15 years, and then, it starts to die down again because people get sick of it. Or like one side wins the debate. And so the one that they were pointing to, this last big culture war, that I was like, yeah, I remember that.
That was settled?
That was settled was gay marriage. So, and it got settled, So
I would say for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I would.
You will find some dissidents like with all things, but overwhelmingly, it's like, who gives a fuck?
Exactly. It's like, yeah, I don't care what you do in the bedroom. I think when they came out with that line, everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, actually that's really not my business, is it?
Well, this was again. This was the we've talked about the incongruencies, or basically the incompatibilities within the left, but within the right, there's a distinct one where basically like theoretical small government does not intersect with Christian right. Theoretically.
God, it is fucking hard to find small government guys anymore.
That's
fucking hard to find.
It's a small group of slouching toadies hanging around Rand Paul.
They all wear tweeds.
Yeah, hanging around Rand Paul, just kind of like
I read a guy's piece on that too about how libertarianism came apart at the seams. So
what was it that destroyed it? What was it that where did it fray? Because it
was all Alan Greenspan. It was all Alan Greenspan. So what happened was, so this entire Republican thing that you and I remember well, we were having a big discussion about the 80s last week. So, kind of thing. But you remember the three legs of that stool. So it was like small market, small government. Small. The Ronald Reagan kind of government is the enemy.
Well, I guess I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah, the scariest thing ever said in the English language. Yeah, so exactly. So that was one leg of the stool. The other one was just like free market economics. Okay, so you actually believe in, some people call it trickle down economics, so which it kind of is, but whatever.
Supply side is the preferred nomenclature.
Supply side is the preferred nomenclature
from the top side.
Right, yeah, from the top side. So that was number 2, and number 3 was the religious right.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those were just dealt fucking death blows in the 2000s.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, the third one, so the small government and the libertarian free market, those kind of go together. The other one was having a muscular foreign policy. Okay, so build it up, so we can collapse the Soviet Union and have an 11 aircraft carrier fleet, right? So that didn't work out after Iraq. So all 3 of these things blew up, and they kind of spun off into their own things. And so you do have, the religious right is still out there. It kind of morphed into, not as like overtly political, but still like heavily involved in the evangelical movement. That's where Dave Ramsey's really successful.
Yeah.
They kind of like to throw rocks at politicians, but they don't really like to get in there and mix it up anymore. So,
well, they don't have the same weight that they once did.
It depends. They do on certain parts of the country. So like evangelicalism has actually grown a lot in the last 10 years. I was looking at that. That was kind of surprising. So all the other religions basically shrank.
I was going to say, at the expense of other...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, so that one kind of spun off on its own.
And
so,
evangelicism is so broad, too. It's weird.
You can just call yourself one, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's basically the big church movement. So yeah, you go to the big church where they have band every week. You're an evangelical. So
Thank you for specifying. Yes, some people are only going to be thinking about like those people at Jesus camp. It's like, yeah,
some of them, yeah,
but that's also normal too.
Yeah. There's not Jesus camp where they do that too. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, they were talking about that, but then this guy was like, okay, so the libertarians were the guys who didn't have a fucking home. So after this whole thing, so because, the foreign policy, the muscular foreign policy guys defected over to the Democrats. So they kind of did.
Were they defected or forced out? I mean, that's the question.
They were hired. They got hired.
Okay, so you're talking about basically like, the question is like, when did neocons become a thing?
Oh, they've been that. Well, a long time, man. I mean, even way before. Because I remember the first few guys that they would put that label on was like back in the 90s. So, because you had some neocons back there. But I remember like Pat Buchanan was talking about it. He's like, I'm not a neocon, I'm a paleocon. So, yeah, exactly. So, but that was... I mean, it's a nice little quip.
Well, no,
it's
it
a
is.
nice turn of phrase, but yeah.
It doesn't mean he wasn't. Well, I guess so I thought...
No, he was distinctly an isolationist. So he was very clear about that.
Okay, so I feel like, am I wrong on this, where the height of that is probably the Bush era?
Yeah, the second Bush 2. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Well, and that's where I mean, because that's where Family Guy cut its teeth and stuff, and like all that. All the Bushisms, and he's a retard, and like Dick Cheney is fucking Darth Vader, kind of thing. Yeah. And so those are your neocon crowd. And so you can absolutely positively put Hillary Clinton in there. So yeah, they eventually just got hired by the blue team. So
okay, that tracks.
So the libertarians are the only guys left, and so this is where the libertarian movement came apart at the seams, because you had the guys in there who are your, oh no, they, that's got fringe on that flag kind of guy.
Yes.
Okay. So, but then you have the other ones who are like, man, we should legalize everything.
Yes.
Yes. And then you have like your strict Milton Friedmanite, guys who, work at like think tanks. So even in sometimes very liberal colleges who have this extremely, like almost like 17th century view of libertarianism.
Isn't that Chicago? Isn't that where
Chicago's the economic school that's like that, and it's produced a ton of damage over the years. So, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like it looks really neat on paper because it's really nice, and it's very, very elegant and clean kind of like thing, but if you drink it, it's poison. So,
Well, you're right, yeah, because when you present it, like you look at all the pages and you skim through and you're like, so you did all that division and you have no remainder? This works out
this
perfect.
Is perfect. Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute, the left side equals the right side? Fucking, you're a genius.
Yeah, and then like you
drink it, and it's like, this got benzene in it, man.
Yeah, then you actually run it through the processor, and then like the bottom, like it comes out, it's like, how did this policy produce crack cocaine?
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like it was meant to be. So anyway, those guys didn't want to leave, okay? But they could give a shit less about marijuana. So they could give two fucks about abortion, kind of thing. It's strictly an economic kind of thing. And so then you get, like this weird brand, and this is where this is how I found this guy, because he actually did a lot of writing on San Francisco, which I've been finding fascinating lately. So, but anyway.
I'm all ears. Gotta keep going.
Yeah. But anyway, he And it's not Michael Schellenberger. This guy hates Michael Schellenberger anyway. But apparently that guy is kind of an asshole. I don't know. So, but I've heard.
What do you know about him? I don't. Yeah.
I don't know, man. So I mean, I liked him when I seen him on Rogan and stuff like that, and I've read 2 of his books. They seem fine. So, but yeah, apparently, like if you go on his Twitter feed, he's pretty mean to people, man. So, but anyway.
All right.
That's neither here nor there. I'm not going to go into that too much because I haven't really I haven't dug into it that much yet. So, unless they say something libelous, or this would be slanderous. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, this other guy, he's like talking about how like left libertarianism comes from fucking San Francisco. So that's where it originated from. So because you have this philosophy there, okay, where it's like, well, we don't want the government to fucking do it. Okay, but the government should give other people money to do it. Okay, but we don't want to tell people that, well, hey man, you can't be, completely fucking stoned out of your mind out here on the street. So that's where you kind of get both sides of that libertarian thing. So where it's like, no, we don't want government solutions, so this is Silicon Valley territory after all. But then it's also like, hey man, who are you to fuck with that guy? Leave that guy alone. He's living his own experience, man. So...
right. What's funny is it goes even farther back than that.
Oh, it does.
I mean,
this guy was taking it all the way back to the 60s. He said that's one of the obvious places where it started. So, but he said you could take it all the way back to the point in time where they actually would do some of this stuff.
1800s, yeah.
Yeah, with immigration laws in particular. Yeah. So, yeah. He didn't go into that too much because it's a pretty short article. But anyway, so he was talking about how that's what broke the libertarian movement, because you had these guys, okay, in Chicago or wherever, who were like, that guy's stoned out of his fucking mind. Get him off the street, and that's not an ideal with libertarian ideal, man. So live and let live, right? So he's not swinging his fist at your face, bro. And so those guys left.
Yeah,
and then now he was talking about every single time that you try and get any kind of like policy initiative going on. So the minute some of the libertarian crowd meet some of the other former guys that were their allies at one point in time, they fight instantaneously, and basically they veto each other and nothing gets done. So yeah. Anyway, it was a pretty short article, but it was pretty informative. I mean, it was just a perspective I hadn't really thought about. So.
Well, it's funny because you're absolutely right. That makes perfect sense. Where you have basically a few tenets of libertarian that remain true at all points, but the problem is when you get down to the details of it, they become incompatible.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Again, it's a little bit of what we have here.
Well, it's
right?
an 18th century philosophy, man.
Yeah.
So its gears grind a little bit.
Now, it's not too far. It's not like going to...
It's not Seneca.
It's not libertine.
It's not libertine, yeah. It's not stoicism.
I mean, you could sit there and say, like, all right, if you take this far enough, yes, you do end up with the Marquis de Sade, but no, we're gonna pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
Yeah, this is the thing about it here. So yeah, you talked about basically like when 80s republicanism, essentially stopped being a thing, right? When all 3 of those stool legs got kicked out.
Yeah, it was 2003 and 2008 together.
Yeah.
And then, of course, gay marriage, which was right behind both of those. So that's what drove all the religious guys out. So, yeah.
Which is, again, it's fine. Because at least for me, like on a political level, like that's the part where I don't have a problem with either side. It's just like, this is not my choice.
Yeah, no,
right? I'm like, the only thing I want you to do is pay taxes.
Yeah, pay your taxes.
Okay? No, here's the fee. This is what it costs you to get married. Right?
Right,
cool.
right. Yeah, cool.
Pay it. I don't want you to have any kind of like civil union or anything like that. Okay? I don't care if you marry like an inanimate object. It can consent. I don't
think
care.
they do those civil unions anymore, do they?
No, not since the Supreme Court.
Oh, that's right. That's right. There was a Supreme Court.
That was what put an end to that. Yeah, I was like,
that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's marry whatever you want. That's fine. It's just like you don't have to make it my deal. You have to remember, it's the other side of free speech is for me to be able to say like, okay, well, I don't want to listen to this, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to hear. It's the same thing. It's like I don't want to hear the escapades from straight people. I don't want to hear.
No.
It's just like this is too personal. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Not my business. Yeah.
And that's exactly it, right?
Not my business.
The not my business part.
Not my business. Yeah.
How does that apply? There were traditional things that were not my business, and then there were like, is that not my business? Because you have two different groups arguing the same stimulus. You have two groups right now focused on, won't somebody think of the children, right?
Yeah.
And the two approaches from this are, I swear we're back in the 1950s again, right?
I don't remember that.
Well, in terms of...
I wasn't alive then.
Well, no, in terms of, like, so if you're going to go back, and if you talk about, like, the sine wave we have of this, right? And yeah, that's absolutely true. That has been going on in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s. You can watch the flips.
Yeah, they were comparing 1968 is our 2020. So, yeah.
Why that? What's their comparison?
It's just, there's so much shit going on. So in 1968, you had wars, you had all kinds of, like, fucking domestic, like, upheavals and things like that. In fact, 2020 had a beat because we had a pandemic going on at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we had an election going on at the same year, and so they just said that, you know, like, if you're going to pick out 2 years out of the last 70 that are the most like, bam, there you go.
Okay.
So, okay. You know, just by how many cities were on fire.
There you go. Yeah.
So, but then they said that 2023 is getting close to being like 1972, you know? So, where it's just, you know, it's like everybody's kind of burned out on it. And so, like, even if Nixon finishes the Vietnam War, he's not going to get credit for him because nobody likes him now. And, you know, and everybody's, like, just right before... Actually, there's another post that I saw that was really interesting about 73 and the oil war, but we can talk about that some other time if you want. But...
I do want to come back to that, yes.
Okay, all right.
I feel like it probably does have some relevance to where we are right now.
It might, but yeah, no, and so it's just like, you know, okay, so history doesn't repeat, of course. So, but sometimes it does rhyme a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the famous, you know, Mark Twain quote. But, and I mean, I can kind of feel it too, man. There's a lot of people who just burned out on this shit. So it's just like, shut the fuck up. Stop that. Let me watch something that's good. You know, so, you know, is football on? Thank God football is on. You know,
can we all agree on this? Yeah,
exactly.
No, I totally understand. No, there's a component of this, and yes, of course, I make it my responsibility to actually follow this crap where it goes, right? Well, I don't want to say responsibility, but just something that I've been watching more closely, especially to shitpost. But the things that I'm seeing here, right? Everything that comes out, just the way it's presented, I'm like, well, actually, this seems like a nail in the coffin. This seems like a nail in the coffin. It's like, so what about all the nails last week, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think that, you know, if you're expecting resolution on anything, that's probably a false game, just demonstrated by the fact that, you know, the shit fires up and it dies back down, but it never goes away, you know, kind of thing. So I think if it's going somewhere, it's going somewhere where I'm not following it. We'll put it that way. So, because it's getting chased out a lot of the other things. I mean, that shit with Bud Light is still going on. So, you know,
they're hemorrhaging.
I know, and it's like, okay, you guys can let up now, and people are like, no, actually, we're not going to buy your, but yeah. No. So, you know,
you guys had the opportunity to course correct.
They totally fucked it up. Yeah, totally fucked it up.
You had to say, we disown this and we fired these people.
Yeah,
and you would have had those people back.
They wouldn't do it, and those people would have come back that weekend, but they refused to do it. And stickiness on that one is actually been,
Disney, yes.
Well, see, that one's interesting though, because that one's got a stickiness that the Target one doesn't have. So, you know,
Target slides because
it's Target, man.
Well, it's Target, but the other thing is they only did this for 1 month.
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right? They put that gaudy crap in the back corner where it belongs. Right.
Yeah.
During the rest of this, they still have that bullshit, you know, to pull out and display. And the corporate heads out there that are like, oh my God, we're so progressive. Yeah, they drag that shit out during June.
Right? Yeah.
and ruin everybody's day with those eyesores, and then it goes away after a month, right?
Right.
Now, I will say this. I mean, this is... In the 80s, there was definitely more of a conceited effort to try to play both sides of the aisle. Okay? When it came to entertainment, when it came to...
Yeah.
Right? And, all right, so...
You wanted the biggest audience possible. So, yes,
got it.
You wanted the biggest... That was true on TV, and it was true on movies.
Absolutely.
So there's both.
Right? Yeah. And I understand that. And I guess that's the question that I have here is, when your media market is as fractured as it is, does that still apply?
I don't think so, man.
That's my question. Is, do you get a bigger market share by pushing harder for that niche audience and trying to get 100% of them?
No, you're not trying to get a bigger market share. You're trying to get more value out of the share that you have. So that Fox News figured that out 20 years ago, and they've been banging that drum ever since. So, you know, and like even so Rupert Murdoch's stepping down like next month or something like that, because he's like, fucking, I didn't realize he was like 95. The guy's old. It's like, yeah.
No, look, there is some artifact from ancient Mesopotamia that is...
you use the amber fish to find it.
that
Rupert Murdoch's heart. You know?
that is prolonging that man's... And if you look at it, like, you can see it, it's like flickering. It's like,
right. Yeah.
You can tell his time is at an end. So, you know, I understand that. But I mean, and that's the thing, is it's time for him to go too. It's time for that era of...
Yeah.
It's the same. Look, it's the same thing in sports. It's the same thing I wished for. It's like, look, I didn't want Tom Brady to finish out his last few years in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but he did.
But I also wanted to see the next generation of... I gotta see the next phase where this team is going.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, for better or worse, right? That's fine. In this case, worse. But that's life.
Yeah.
Right? And it's...
Yeah. So, like, news has been easier for me a little bit lately, so I still focus on local news. Local news is great around here. So,
fair enough, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, if there's something big fucking deal going on in the world, they'll tell you. So,
sure.
You get like a 3-minute segment, and they say, like, oh, yeah, you know, like, fucking, you know, there was a couple, I mean, so, like, if you go to, like, Fox News and stuff like that, or any of the websites that I used to frequent, but I just can't stand them anymore, in some respects, or, like, newsstand, I can't stand it. It's like, oh, there's a hurricane. I didn't know there was a fucking hurricane. So, I was like, see, that's actually...
Hardly remember the last year.
Yeah, exactly, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, see, okay, that's actually decent news, because you're just telling me what's going on. You're not telling me what to think before you tell me what's going on. So...
Yeah, and that's the thing is I want to know about the hurricane. I don't want to know about your particular case here that says that the results are in. This is all man-made. I'm like, I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is.
You know, and that's not what I came here anyway.
No,
what I want to know is how badly Haiti is going to get wiped out on the map this time around.
Yeah, exactly. They're thinking of me in Texas next week. That's what I'm really interested in.
It's really the question. Yeah. No, that's a rough one. It's... And maybe this is part of it. Maybe it's all about presentation. Maybe it's all about presentation, right? It's I don't have, like you said, I wasn't there in the 50s. I don't know how they felt. Okay? I don't know what it was like to live in, say, Dayton, Ohio, where my dad was, and New York City, where your dad was.
Nope.
Right? I don't know if to them, right, the speed of news in comparison felt like the way that it did, or the presentation of news felt the way that it did. I don't know, right? All I can say is I can give you the perspective from when I was young to this time now, right? Mm-hmm. And it's basically like me spending an afternoon at my brother's house. It's like, okay, I like you guys, okay? I like it. But when you break down all of the distractions, I'm like, okay, so you have child here, you have child here, you have all of their friends here.
You have dogs. Yeah.
You have dogs. You also have a cat. They are buddies. They run around. There are now lizards in that house. There is,
there's toys everywhere.
There's toys everywhere. And if you go to the TV, of course, it's that NFL commercial that only shows
8 games at once. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so I'm like, wow, all this information is great. It's okay. But about 3 hours of that,
yeah,
and my brain's had enough.
Oh, I can't do it, man. Yeah. So that's why lately I've been actually reading more. So
it's the best.
It kind of is the best. Yeah. So, because you get to, it's like, okay, I want to learn about this. All right. So who's got a good angle on this? So who's got some good information that I can trust on this? All right. And so I've actually managed to cultivate. If you guys like Substack, I like Substack a lot more now that I discovered that a shitload of stuff on there is free. So
that's great.
Yeah, no, I did not know that, man. So
all I want is your eyeballs.
All I want, yeah, that's all I want is eyeballs. So on some of these things,
it's like the last pure source of journalism.
It kind of seems like that now, and so, but even like the paid stuff. So I pay for like I think 3 of them now, but even those are only like $2-3 a piece. So I think Taibbi's supposed to. He's like 5. So
he's worth 5.
He's definitely worth 5. So I've really gotten used to him and his mealy mouthed buddy Walter Hearn. So on Fridays, so because he does have a good sense of humor. So he's an effective writer. His speaking is just mumbling through it. So, but anyway, So yeah, no, he's worth 5. But then I found a bunch of other guys that are free. So, and they post, pretty regularly, maybe once, twice a week. Some of them are famous guys that I've known for a while. Some of them are just new guys that I found. And I was like, actually, you're pretty fucking smart, man. I like listening to smart people. So it makes me feel like better. So, it's like, please, someone just explain this to me without horse shit, packed around this entire fucking sandwich that I want to eat here. So.
Well, I mean, look, there are going to be some people. So if I try to do what is that? Eliza Doolittle is My Fair Lady. If I try to pull one of my old Tylers and throw them into a class of purely erudite, stuck-up assholes, and I say, like, all right, over the next 6 weeks, I'm going to make you a sophisticated human being. None of you are going to snort at the dinner table. None of you are going to spit. None of you are
Yeah.
When prompted about where somebody is, you will not respond by saying, oh, he's out here packing sand up his ass.
Right, yeah.
Right? This is I will mold you into okay. There is some amount of that will change, but it will not change entirely.
No, of course.
But there is something to be said about, like, it's that whole dressing for the job you want thing, right?
Yeah.
If you expect a higher level of discourse, you cannot hang out in the rabble
correct
all the time and expect to come out of there with all parts of your soul intact. It doesn't work.
No.
The rabble will wipe off on you. It's wiped off on me many times.
There is a lot of rabble on the X app. So, and I mean
tons.
A lot. So,
but it's the only place. This is the only my fealty goes to this goddamn app because it is the only place that is even close to what the Wild West was back in the day, where they said, no, we want the information to hit. I'm wealthy enough to take the hits on this. It'll figure itself out.
Yeah.
Right? But we want people to throw shit out there because this is the only place where you're going to get it essentially uncensored.
Yeah, no, you get it it's very raw. So, which is fine. I mean, but yeah, you definitely have to like cultivate who you're willing to listen to on things. So,
you can't let them drag you. You can't.
No, you can't. And see, like that, I've had
many crabs.
I have yet. Yeah, there are a lot of crabs in that sand, man. So you be very careful about where you put your towel down.
Yeah.
So, because sometimes they're big. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I watched that whole thing go around the other day, and it was really cool because this one guy that I watched, he actually does like cybersecurity. So he actually does, and he goes through and he does like he kind of picks apart disinformation campaigns. which is kind of fun. So because they come from all over the place.
Oh, okay, yeah,
they come from all
yeah.
over the place. He's like, it's not just Russia and China. He says they do a lot of them, all right, but it's not just them. So there's other people who do this too. So, and that's because you can actually get quite a bit out of this, you know? So and sometimes it's like, okay, so there's not like some policy objective behind Russia, you know, to do this. It's just, no, they're going to make money off this, okay? So they're going to make money off, they're going to monetize this campaign here. And so he did a brilliant breakdown of the whole thing with that F-35 that crashed the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, you know, and it turned out to be complete horse shit and everything, you know, about, like, oh, it flew to fucking Cuba and landed and stuff.
Is that the story?
I watched that happen in real time on Twitter, man. It was kind of funny, you know? And I was like, what the fuck? Some guy didn't fly, you know, an F-35.
What is
Cuba? You know? So, but it was fun because then he posted that the very next day on his Substack. And he takes all the tweets, and he's got software that can scrape all this shit you know, off of Twitter. Okay. And he'll build a timeline behind it. He'll be like, okay, so this is the original thing that was put out by these guys. This is a legit post. Okay, so this is a legit entity. All right, so they made a really bad choice in word choice here, which tipped off this guy, who is a malicious actor. And then he'll show all his stats, you know. And he says he's in Texas, but he's actually in Serbia. You know?
No shit.
Yeah,
wow. Wow.
It's kind of fun to see. So, and I was like, man, fuck, that's cool. I watched that in real time.
Bro, okay, so I should have watched that one a little bit more carefully. I was content to like do some work and let that one actually roll out. Because I didn't want to miss out again on the Russian the revolutionaries rolling into town, but they weren't. They were Nazis. I
didn't see this.
You remember this. This was where the PMC guy, the one who's dead now.
The Prigozhin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the whole thing was, he's come to eliminate Putin and put an end to this.
No, he came for a paycheck. Yeah.
I watched that one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Go from fucking hero of the revolution
to a Nazi.
In the course of like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he was a Nazi. One of his guys was. One of his guys had Schustaffel bolts tattooed on.
Yeah, there are some pieces of shit.
Oh yeah, no. Clearly,
but yeah, I watched that one. So when I went to bed, it was like, oh shit, it's on.
Yeah.
And by the time I woke, I was like, wait,
what? He went home? Wait, he wasn't actually there? Yeah.
And then within 2 weeks or so, like a month, plane crashes.
Right, yeah. So I've seen a couple pieces on that are actually pretty good. So the best one, I think I might have sent this one to you, is this Australian guy who does like these fucking they're like hour-long videos where he'll go through an entire like thing that usually has something to do with defense and military and stuff. And so he did a whole thing on like that plane in particular. It said, well, all right, so if they shot a missile at it, we would see that. So we know that they did it, but they never, like, Putin never said that he did it. So they never really offered they did an investigation, mechanical issue, blah, 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 and stuff like that. You know, so, but none of that matters because everybody knows, you know, and even if it was extremely fortuitous, and it actually did have a mechanical failure, which is not out of the realm of possibility considering they can't get fucking airplane parts in that country anymore.
Sure.
So why wouldn't you even remotely, or you'd still take credit for it by like saying, we'll look into it, and then, you know, just kind of let it go because everybody knows that it's like, oh yeah, that guy was on a shit list, man. You know?
No, what you do at that point is you say his last words for him.
Right.
You say, you know, it's a real shame we lost him because we'd actually had the chance to speak recently. And
yeah,
this shit happens, man.
Yeah, it does happen. Especially in Russia.
Yeah. That's you know, we really hammered out a lot of things, and I was happy to work with. We were on the same page, and it's just like guys go too soon.
Right. Yeah.
Guys go too soon, man.
Yeah. So.
It happens.
Ashes to ashes.
Yeah, you see Putin actually give himself the sign
Right,
of the
yeah,
cross.
the Orthodox cross. Yeah.
All right, so
No, I didn't see. I wasn't on Twitter when that thing was going on. So I saw. Yeah, so I saw the F-35 one, and I saw the one with the Republican guys with the flamethrowers last week. So, and the same guy that I got wise to him because he took that one down. And he was like, this one is absolutely an disinformation campaign. It comes from these Antifa fuckers over here. So, and he can do the timeline there, and it shows you, it's like, oh, there he is, pops up. So he's going to try and repost this. So, and actually change just a couple words in the whole thing. Watch the whole thing go fucking bananas. So, yeah, and he was like, no, man, that's not what this guy said. So it was, I did watch that one just pop up a couple times, but then when he took that one down, it got my attention, and that's when I started reading him. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway.
No, I mean, again, it's if you were to, God, I mean, the best way, it's just like, if you're trying to fucking, like, navigate the din, right, of what this is, right? It's, like I said, there's a lot of truth in here, and there's something to it where the addition of community notes has changed the game entirely.
So
it's
what are those? What is the community notes?
Okay, so community notes is basically like, let's suppose that have you seen them posted?
Maybe, but I don't know how to actually tell that they're different. Are they just like articles?
No. What they are is, so this was something that old Twitter 1.0 could do, right?
Okay.
But it came from basically the Twitter propaganda board, right? Okay. The who would you call those guys in the SS? The basically the fucking
the fucking Goebbels people.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, like, if you
Twitter's got its own propaganda minister.
Well, it did because this was the same shit. Yeah, because this is where, you know, for where they had for years, especially just think about the COVID times where it was like, if somebody said something about COVID coming from Wuhan, right?
Oh, yeah. Clamp that down. Yeah.
You would be shadow banned into the Stone Age, if not flat out banned, and they would put a note on it. If Donald Trump put out something out there, they could community note his ass.
Okay.
Right? And they would say, like, well, ivermectin is this, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, back when the fucking Nazis were running the show here and putting their spin on it, right? They eventually opened up community notes to the community, right? Where if somebody makes a claim, okay, like the funniest the funniest example I can say of this is, like, you will see little ads in there for, you know, games. Okay? And so you'll see a little game pop up, and it says, like, Total War this, and it says free to play, no ads. The classic community note pops up, this game has ads.
This game has ads, yeah, okay.
Right? And they will have to cite a source or put information there that confirms that. Right? And what happens there is people will then go ahead and vote on the community note to see if it's helpful or not.
Oh, so it's almost like Reddit.
So, well, no, because
no, it's an upvote or a downvote. It's not. Yeah.
Well, no, because you have to go in there and say it's basically, was this helpful? Yes or no, and then why. You have to basically click the things. Now, is there a part of that that's popularity? Yeah, but it's not going to have a minus or a plus. It's just whether or not the note sticks.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So when you actually have that now coming from the community, where things can pop up and say, like, all right, this is like, they can make claims about inflation. It's like, actually, well, so here's the data on this. Here's the sources where it comes from, and you can call it bullshit, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah,
totally fine.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that it's a game changer.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Right? It's something that's been...
I probably have seen that in there. I just didn't recognize that's what that was. So, yeah. Okay.
So, no, that's actually, again, that's something that's incredibly useful. I got to tell you, like, for being what people call, like, a clusterfuck, there's just so much more... The race for monetization is a problem.
Yeah, so
that's fucking up the program.
How does their monetization work? You get so many followers, you're eligible. Is it just like YouTube?
No, what? Okay, so you have to. All right, now I'm part of the program.
Yeah, that's
right?
fine.
So,
yeah.
keep in mind, I'm somebody who's getting paid for this. Is if you have X amount of followers,
Okay.
okay, and you have basically this many impressions over a 3-month period, right? You become eligible for this.
Okay.
Right.
That's just like YouTube.
And that's based on like how much advertisers want to get into this, right?
Depending on the demographics of your followers.
What you do, what you post, right? You don't know about it; they just do it, right? They don't
Right.
you,
Yeah.
Right.
No, YouTube's the same way.
And they pay you out.
Do they pay everybody the same?
No.
Okay, yeah. So that's exactly like YouTube then. So, because what YouTube does is, so they have their partner program. I think it used to be 1,000, but it might be 500 subscribers now, which is not easy to get.
That's not easy to get on Twitter either.
No, it's not. Although I was surprised to find that I had like some 50-some fucking followers, and I never posted a goddamn thing. So who the fuck are those people?
Who knows, Patrick? It could have been. It could have been bots from back then. I have no idea.
It might be bots. So yeah. So YouTube's actually pretty good about scrubbing out most of its bots. So, but then yeah. So I think it might still be 1,000. But then the hardest part was getting 4,000 watch hours. So, because you could get as many clicks in the world, all right? So, their version of an impression of you.
Yeah.
So, but if someone clicked on it and then said, who are these two fucking assholes with the bad mic? And then immediately clicked off of it, that added about a second to your 4,000 hour watch time. Yeah.
Right.
So, anyway.
Right.
But the way that they break it down is like, depending on, they'll actually categorize what kind of channel you have. Okay? And they track all your demographics too. You can look at them all. They're kind of fascinating. So in some respects, my audience is way younger than I thought they would be. So for playing a nerd game.
You know, there's actually some demographic information that really supports this too. And I can talk about that a little bit later too.
What? Nerd culture? I don't know. I don't have a single woman on my channel.
This is exactly it. The demographic that you have, how old are they?
Oh, they
what
vary.
range to what range?
What?
When you say that they're younger than you thought, what age range do they typically fall?
I'd say about half of them fall between 18 and 34. So, and then another quarter goes up to about 50, and then another quarter is 50 plus. So it's weighted towards the lower end of the scale, but it's still pretty distributed, and that's why. So that my ad revenue, which I don't have mine turned on, I have no plans on turning mine on. So because it's fucking pennies, and so that's just how YouTube works. Unless you have a different type of channel. So, but as a game channel, you get paid dick because there are so many game channels out there. Now, my other channel, which is like tutorials, that one is like 60% women, 40% guys. Most of them are young. That channel would make me a mint. So just because, and it's not in game category. So, but I'm not going to turn it on that one because I'm not looking for subscribers.
Well, that's the educational one, right?
That's the educational one. I never ask people to subscribe to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's just an example of how YouTube differentiates how much you get paid in their partner program. Okay, all right. So, how does Twitter do it?
Yeah, it's the breakdowns, I don't know. The actual, how that goes. I just know that people do get different amounts. And it was amazing watching people, like, as soon as you hit that thing, they're like, well, here you go. Here's $15,000, right? So,
really?
Yeah. There were dudes posting this shit. I mean, so there's been a fight for...
How long have they been monetized?
About 3 months.
Oh, okay. So
a little bit longer, like 5 months.
It was never monetized before.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That was all just that was much. It's like this is all ad revenue sharing. What we get, we share with you.
Okay.
So it was like, fuck. All right. That's so cool. A lot of people are now trying to farm engagements.
People have been doing it on YouTube for decades.
I hear you. And so it's rough where you go to like a big subscriber account, and what you'll see is that people will basically like try to piggyback what they're doing.
Oh yeah, you get the shocked face guy.
So it's
or whatever the Twitter version of that is.
Exactly. So they're posting their own memes and they're basically
make sure you have good thumbnails, man. Make sure they don't look like Mr. Beasts.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of that going on, but aside from that, like I said, it's just there's a truer form of like discourse in there, and I like that. I like. Yeah. I've gone back at people have gone back at me, and there's a point to it where like honestly, Patrick, this is the thing is I find that now at this point. Mm-hmm. The discussions actually tend to resolve themselves. Why? Because basically you can't bait people into getting banned.
Oh yeah, that's true. That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Now that there are certain lines not to cross, and there are things where you can say this at the risk of right. There's a new debate here about freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, where it's like
what is freedom of reach?
Is basically where they can like shadow ban your shit or basically, put you
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
like okay, so how many people actually see your shit?
Yeah.
Got it.
And so like if you're going to say these certain things, like, all right, well you can say it, but you're going to be, put down here. It's like, all right, I don't necessarily
You're gonna go play in the kiddie pool.
I don't necessarily agree with that completely, but I understand it's a meeting the advertisers halfway.
Yeah.
Kind of thing of saying like, no, this is like if you're looking to do some advertising with people that are toxic, like, here's how I can tell you, like, you'll be okay. Why? Yeah. Because if this person spews this shit, right? If this person has deeply racist views, right? Okay, he can say it, but he's going to be shadow banned into the fucking Stone Age, so it's not going to be an issue.
They don't have a tier system like YouTube does. So, like, YouTube has the two things. I used to check the box every night and Safe for Children.
Yeah.
So, Safe for Children is how you get fucking super monetized. So, sure. if you don't, and they got very strict rules about can't cuss, don't show no dicks or whatever. Like, it's got to be very, very. I mean, although YouTube's gotten weird, man. So,
dude, they're pulling the Disney track right now. They're like, we don't agree with this kind of messaging, so. Who the fuck? They demonetized the China guys.
And they do that all the time, man. And so, I've actually followed those guys on Twitter now. So they're interesting on there. And whenever that happens, they talk about it, but like both of them, it's just like, fine, fuck it. We're going to get demonetized every single time, because like two different things. Number one is they just get flooded from China every single week. Every time they post, they get like hit with hate speech, blah, 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 blah. And eventually the algorithm is just like, fine, fuck it, turn it off.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then they have to go through the appeal process. But when you have a weekly show and the appeal process takes a week, you're fucked. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it's just not a good platform for them. But, I mean, they do get a lot of reach. So, hopefully they do better on Twitter. I know they do fine on Substack. So, or no, they're on Patreon.
Yeah, they're on Patreon.
I have actually murdered off all my Patreons. So, they're done.
You know what? That's fine.
I don't need them anymore. Yeah. So, the last podcast that I was listening to through Patreon actually stops this week. So,
there you go.
Yep. And I was like, okay, that's a good place to put a pin in it. So,
all right. So, okay. So all right, I could go all night with this. However, our title does say that we're going to talk about Starfield.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So we're gonna talk about Starfield.
How far?
So, I don't know. What do you mean, how far?
Okay, so me too. I don't know. Like, the progression in the game is like, you do like the first mission, and then it's like, well, go do whatever you want to do. And it's like, what, really? You're not going to like push me to immediately get over to Trevor's house and rob a bank?
No, no. It's not like that, and it's not quite like. So what I'm finding here is that the actual like framework story, the main quest, if you call it that, like, look, this is paper thin. Okay?
Oh, it is. It's tiny.
It's paper thin. Yeah. This is something this is as science fiction of a trope that I've ever seen. I was like when I started like getting this, like, wait, so the fragments of this thing are giving you little like flashbacks into memories. I'm like, this is straight out of Mass Effect. like
Oh yeah.
beat for beat.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is where you're having this, you have to put this together. I'm like, all right. So it's not that kind of game.
Yeah.
Because that game, yes, you could wander around and you can go like cause trouble and blah 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 blah. But in that game, they at least try to instill a false sense of urgency.
Yeah.
They tried to lie to you and say that, like, well, you'd better hurry. And to be fair, in the last game, yes, there was a little system in place where if you took too long doing these things, these were repercussions.
What, Mass Effect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily know that at the time, but they locked you out of certain things. So if they're doing that here, I don't know, right?
I haven't detected any of that.
There are certain things that, okay, I'm going to play it later, right? And I want to play it later.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem here, like, but I don't know why. This is the issue that I'm having here. Is like, all right, so I'm having fun with this, okay? But there's certain things about the construction of this game that just make me say, like, how could nobody tell you that this is the problem? Like, why the fuck is there no city map?
Okay, I noticed that immediately.
In this game, it's like, how could you possibly, like, overlook this?
Yeah, it's like, is there a kiosk somewhere where I can go look at a map? And so I ran around the city, look. Then you realize the city is fucking tiny. So it is. I mean, it's like, this is supposed to be the capital of the known universe, and it's like, what, 4 city blocks? Cool. So
sort of, it looks bigger. And
it looks bigger.
And because it's organized into these weird little fucking, like, you say, like,
you don't need a train to get from one to the other.
It's like your city's built like the Atari logo, so I'm like, it goes this way, this way, and the lodge is up here. But yeah, like the way that's organized, you don't see all the buildings out here, so you're like, was this in the residential district? Was this?
Yeah. Where's the gun store, man? I know I saw it.
Like, yeah. So I need 43 MIs. I need these bullets.
Right.
These guys don't have them. But I don't know where the other one is. Oh, it's in the other district. Oh, it's not in the other district. It's in the goddamn well.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, I can't remember where all this stuff is, and it replaces on these things. And, like, when you look at other games, it's like, why won't you idiots just let me craft my own fucking bullets?
Oh, you know what? I hadn't tried that.
You can't. You can't. The game doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So no city map, no crafting bullets. So you have to like wander around. It's like,
that's right. There's no crafting bullets. You can craft the fuck out of everything else, though, man. So,
no ammunition.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so
no ammo. Yeah, and you can't pull mod attachments off and stick them on other guns. So
no, it's
I was like, well, that's dumb. These are the same fucking model. Let me just unwrench this one. Yeah.
It's not even like an unwrench. It's just like just put the screwdriver here and like
yeah,
or you know, or whatever. I don't know. So there's some weird things where like. There's like, all you had to do was give this just a little bit more thought and say, like, what's better for the user?
Yeah,
right?
just a little bit more. I don't know, man. Like
flying to different planets to buy ammo is asinine.
That's stupid. Yeah. So, well, I mean, unless it was like a really small planet, you know, like I don't know, man. So,
well, and what have you done with the planet exploration, where it comes to just straight up? Bitch, it's wandering time.
I'm fucking into that, man.
That's
I'm so into
that. And I have a problem with this, too.
It's like, and then when you start zooming out and realizing how fucking huge the galaxy is, it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to the
That's
lodge.
what I'm saying. It's like... this is where I'm like, but why? This is like, but why am I coming... Can I honestly say that I'm trying to spread out and discover things? It's like, I don't know. It says, go here. So I fly to this spot. Okay. I look at the little scanner and it says, well, you got dealy bops here in the distance, right? So I'm going to go look at these dealy bops. Now, the weird thing about this game, and fuck it. All right. I know they say it's racist, but there's been a white genocide in this society.
See, I didn't notice that as much as you did. I mean, especially amongst the vendors. So
right. So
but maybe on the streets, sure, but like, there's only like 2 places that are densely populated that I've been to. So
look, I'm not writing it. I'm just saying, like, there's a clear decision here, right?
Yeah.
But then this is the problem where I have with like the game meeting the philosophy of the gameplay, right? So you have probably looked at this, you're like, all right, so in these games, yes, I have to take some like scientific certifications. I have to do some things like this. But I also don't want to be vulnerable because I know this game is going to want me to shoot things.
Right.
Right. So I have to up my certs in this.
Yeah.
Now, how do you up your certs, your weapon certs, to get those?
You use them. Yeah.
Who do you shoot?
You can shoot whatever. Like, I actually went on like a hunting safari on one planet.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the disconnect.
It had like 6 different types of animals on it. And I was like, and there's only one of these that's carnivorous. Okay, cool. So,
this is the disconnect. All right. So the game has sort of like a quasi, like, I don't know. I don't want to say like a progressive bend, but it sort of does. But then you say like, all right, in order to not get my butt blown off, right, what I have to do is I have to go in the wilderness and shoot every animal.
I go shoot pirates. They're just more fun. But they do shoot back.
But the thing is, there's not enough pirates. There's not enough goons.
There's tons of goons.
There are goons. Don't get me wrong.
Goons,
you can find them, but you're gonna find way more of the little blue Smurf things. You're gonna find way more of these
little blue Smurf things.
Of these little like kind of like dinosaurs that go down with one shot. And so like your whole certing up is basically about going on safari, right? Kill everything. Kill everything, right? And that's where the disconnect is. And again, it's just, there's so much crap going on when you go on. So you turn this on, like, all right, go hit the button, and keep hitting the button, keep scanning things, keep taking things, do all these biomes, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. I don't use half this stuff.
No.
Over encumbrance is a huge issue in this game.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm going not Fallout on this one. I don't pick shit up anymore. So if it's not something I'm actively looking for, I don't even fucking bother.
But how do you get money then?
Huh?
You just doing quests or what?
You do quests. So there's like a couple, like in the well, there's a couple mission generators down there. They'll dish out like 4,000, 5,000 credit quests just to go scan a fucking planet.
Okay.
And so I'll get like 10 of those, but then I'll go to places where I would probably never even fucking see. So, if I didn't do it. And so that's one way. The other way is I just hawk everything.
That's it.
Yeah. But I mean, I go for the high dollar shit. And so like, if I'm out there and if I'm like, because I noticed the encumbrance thing right off the bat too. I was like, what the fuck, man? So thank God it doesn't slow you down like it did in Fallout, which was annoying as shit.
No.
So this one just kills you after a while.
Well, there's 2 things. Of course, yes. Number one, it makes it so that your CO2 builds up really fast. And the other thing is that you can't fast travel while you're overloaded with shit.
Yeah, so, that's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so when you're walking around with like 200 dinosaur skulls, right. It's like, you can't just warp back to your ship to sell this.
Yeah.
You think I don't have this figured out?
Right, yeah. But drop some of those and come back here later, buddy.
No, and don't get me wrong, I do think it's funny that the companions will call you out for that. I do think it's like...
I take the robot around with me. He can carry a shitload of stuff.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah. But I do like that they'll stop and say, like, can you be choosy with what you pick up?
Okay, yeah, so like, somebody got kicked off my team for saying that.
There you go.
I was like, well, you're a mouthy one, aren't you? So, it's like, you know what? I like working alone better. So, but anyway.
No, and I do like, there are certain things where, like, the systems, like, I get it, and I'm having fun with it, and there are things where, like, I kind of like the injury system. I like
the injury system is brilliant. So it's like, what do I do? Oh, I've got a cough. What the fuck is this? What did I do? And it's like, am I gonna die because I, like inhaled this fluorine gas over here? And then, it really forces you to kind of dive into some of those systems. Like, I better make some of these. I do that a lot.
yeah. If you spend too much time on a cold planet, it's like, your frostbite is bad. There's nothing like, there is something to those messages say it's getting worse.
Yeah, it's like, prognosis is poor. Yeah,
and then it gets worse, and then you have that chunk missing, and you have these debilitations, and you like stumble into a doctor's office because all you had was like bandages, and like, does this cure frostbite? It's like, no, actually it makes it worse.
It makes it worse. Stick to it, man.
Yeah,
so that's part of your skin.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna take this off here, and you're not gonna like what you see. It's like, why?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, this is gonna hurt, man. This is gonna hurt real bad.
Yeah, and so this is why, like, my review on this is I want to keep playing it. I don't know why. I'm having like a hard time. It's like I'm not trying to advance the story because I don't care. Like I advance it as far as I want to see new planets or I want to see new things.
Oh yeah.
But like within the gameplay itself, like I don't feel like I'm making this universe a better place. Like when you were Savior of the Wasteland, man, you had a thesis.
I'm starting to turn into that, and this is absolutely this is gonna consume hundreds of hours.
That's why I'm starting to think like this is a game that goes on for like years.
Yeah, so because I started base building, and base building is amazingly cool.
I dabbled with it.
It got it hooked into me right away. Now, what I can't do very good is any of the ship design stuff yet, but I will.
Have you started building new ships, or
I got money for it, but
or buying new ships or anything?
No, I got my first like factory set up. So, you know, I bring my ship and you just run to that little fucking kiosk in town and sell like thousands of ore. So, yeah, you can make a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you can get very, very rich in this game.
Well, okay,
yeah.
So there's that.
It took me a while to start figuring out how to do that. So, because you got to develop all the engineering shit first before you can build that shit. So, and then once I started realizing, I was like, oh, wait a minute, you got to click on the skill twice. So it doesn't go up on its own after a while. You got to spend points on that too, huh? So there were a few things that it was not very intuitive in the game, but once I got into that and the exploration thing, because I was doing all these like go kill the pirates, go save this dude kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, yeah, this is fun. The gunplay's fine. I have no
that's
no
fine.
issues with the gunplay. No. The boost pack is fun as fuck.
Wow, what do you do with it?
I don't walk, so if I don't have to anymore.
How do you boost?
You just hit the B button. You got to get the training for it. So it's one of the first ones. So, but if you grab that and then your boost pack, you just hit B and you know, and if it's low G, you go wee.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty fun.
All right.
So yeah. So, or if you're out in space. So, yeah, there's only been a few things that I've actually done out in the like cold darkness of space. So most of my time has been spent like scanning planets and then landing on them, going on safari.
See, okay.
And then finding like, oh, there's iron and aluminum here. Fucking sweet.
And that's, yeah, okay. So what I want to get into a little bit more of the space stuff, right? So I have gussied up my spacecraft a little bit with beefier attacking stuff.
Oh man, some of the pirates out there kicked the fuck out of me.
Well, and that's why I got pissed. I was like, all right, well, I don't want to run from these guys, but so I spent money on that, and I do like one of the things I do like is the actual boarding system.
Oh, where you go into the basement or through the? Oh, you mean boarding other ships?
Yeah,
that is nice. It took me a while to
figure that out. Where if you disable them, you can get on there and then cause out some trouble.
Can you target individual areas of an enemy spaceship, or
not that I've seen?
Yeah,
they say that you can do it. Like they say, like, oh, target his stuff. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna
shoot him. Yeah.
And then sometimes it slows down, and you'll hear like over the radio, "Our engines are out." You know?
Like you would announce that over the radio, but yeah, I think I did it as a mission once.
Yeah.
So I had to do it as part of a mission, but I think it was kind of on rails. So, but then like I made a stupid mistake. I actually picked like this bounty hunter thing in the beginning because I was like, oh yeah, if I'm cornered, I get a boost, and if I'm fighting alone, I usually.
Yeah.
It's like that's a great idea, but that's a terrible idea early in the game because they send bounty hunters after you that are way more badass.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I wish I hadn't done that, but I don't see any reason to undo it. I don't want to start over again. So, you know.
No, and this seems like a real, like, play it out kind of thing. The one thing I notice here is that, like, you do progress, and there's a lot of shit on there to, like, the builds are way different. I don't know if you can, if this is going to be something that eventually gives me, like, 200 skill points so that I have this ultimate warrior scholar fixer thing like this, or if it tops out and says like, hey, you made the choices you made, play it out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
I'm fine with either. I have resisted looking anything up. So
I looked up something. I looked up, is there a map of this fucking city?
Oh.
And fortunately, yes, I had dual monitors on, so I'm like, all right.
Is there a map?
Yes.
But it's online. It's not part of the game.
You have 2 monitors.
Okay, I might actually have to look that up.
I'm telling you, because I needed certain ammunition, and I'm like,
it seemed like a ridiculous oversight. So
it's so again, every one of your other games has always had one of these.
Yeah.
Why would you take that out?
I don't know, or at least there's not that many cities. So at least you'd have like, oh, okay, so there's a brochure over here. Let me grab this one for the city on Mars. Great. So there's only 2 of these, so... because that's what you had in that Fallout 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So...
Now, I mean, I will also say, like, again, if I do it for another 5 hours, I won't complain about it. I don't like the interface of the start menu. I don't like the actual traveling map thing. I'm like, this is unintuitive as shit.
It's really, yeah.
Like,
you mean the galaxy map?
Yes.
That one is really unintuitive, and you get lost in it real fast. So, yeah.
Like, I'm getting the sense of it now, and, like, at this point, it's starting to become automatic. But again, it's like, there's no sense of... It doesn't feel like the game knows what I'm thinking to do. At all. At all. It's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I don't want to take off, and I don't want to take off to land somewhere else on its own planet.
I did that a lot on that starting planet, where it's like, you landed in the landing spot. I was like, there's nothing fucking here. So, do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, and now every time that I click on Alpha Centauri, or whatever it is, Jensen, or whatever it is.
Jemison?
Jemison.
Yeah.
It takes
I keep saying Jameson.
Jameson, it takes me to that fucking spot. And I'm like, no, man, I want to land at the spaceport. Now it's not on here, so fuck it, I'll just fast travel. Yeah.
And it's just weird oversights where there are parts of this game where, like, well, this is super cool. This is really cool. Like, there are parts where I'm like, I'm just walking around and I'm having a great time, right? Yeah. Look at these trees. Look at these reflections. All right, this is all cool, but
look at that planet rise up on the sunset. It's like really fucking cool.
Yeah. There's so much cool stuff in there, but there's also like
flying through asteroids.
Just yeah.
You can mine those. So,
okay.
Yeah, just blast them.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I feel like. There's tons of stuff in the game that
there probably is. Yeah,
and. I feel like I could play this differently 10 different times, and it would be a different experience. Like,
it took me several hours to realize I could actually stop my spaceship cold. I thought this was TIE Fighter, and you just kind of always went in one direction. Okay. And you can back it up. You just have to hold it down.
It does have a reverse.
I was like, I felt so dumb.
You don't have to line up to a place to find a place to dock.
I destroyed my ship once doing that by trying to bonk into it. It's like, well, maybe you have to ram it,
Now, the penalties for bonking aren't that bad.
I had just got my ass beat. So,
but yeah. And, there is something about going in there feeling like a schmuck because you're like, all right, so what the game wants me to do is it wants to take my reactor power and move these around to different subsections. I'm like, okay, I get this. I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah.
But I will be.
It's very TIE Fighter.
And I was like, okay, but once I get that, once I started getting like, this is way more fun. Okay, got it. This is where you make the sacrifices. This is like, I'm not trying to, Kevin this thing. I was like, oh, what's the God unit on this? Is like, okay, well, I can keep all these on here. And I can fucking jump here. And it was like, okay, like, well, there goes all the fun out of that. But I do appreciate that. I'm like, this is fun. It's like, man, I can't maneuver very fast if I have all my shields up. I'm like, okay, sacrifices. I'm like,
really?
Okay. Well,
if you have your shields up?
Well, no, it just depends on what you want to pull it from.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. So you want your shields down, boost your engines so you can actually haul ass. Yeah,
or whatever. Or you have to turn down, like,
It took me a while to realize that my ship actually had 3 different weapons on it. So Absolutely. I was like, what is this BAL? What the fuck is that? So not realizing it had a fucking chain gun on it. So I was like, oh, well, that would have been nice to know. So,
and again, they change drastically depending on how many points you put into them, right? So, like, when you invest in a heavier laser, you are fucking, like, laying down on those shields and then you missile the crap out of people. I'm like, this is good. Why does your map suck so much? Why do you have such a dog shit map?
Yeah.
You know I have to look at this 700 times a game.
It was like, I'm just gonna wear what I'm wearing, man. Yeah. I'm just gonna go to the mercantile exchange and offload all this shit. So, and I don't care if I look like I collect trash around here. So, yeah, no.
All the rest of you look like trash anyway. It's not.
You kinda do.
It's not.
It's not cyberpunk, man.
It's not Night City.
It's not Night City.
It's not really like you don't go into Night City and you say like, oh well, I have 2 dressers in my house where it's like, all right, so these are clothes and these are retard clothes, right?
It's like, so I remember wearing a hot pink like fucking neon rubber pants for like 10, 15 hours in that game because they gave me such a wicked boost. So, and I was like, I look so bad. But these pants are amazing. Fortunately, in that game, you only had to look at your ass when you were riding a motorcycle.
Exactly, yeah.
This game, I don't know. I'm glad it's got both third person and first person. I find myself kind of switching between the two.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I did not do that in Fallout, because in Fallout, you didn't have any gun sway. So, you know, in this one, you're firing an automatic weapon. It does the Rainbow Six thing where, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that sucks. So, you know, so you can't just kind of eyeball it in this one.
Well, because they want you to spend points down the road to minimize that effect.
Okay.
Because in the second row of things, yes, they have.
Yeah.
And there's a third row, too. I mean,
know,
it's like,
yeah.
fucking what's it going to take for me to get to the third row on this
I was looking at the weapon stuff. I was like, all right, just pick one that you're going to use. So, because quite honestly, if you run into a shotgun that's badass, you might as well throw it in the garbage. So at this point in time, so, you know, or whatever it is that you wanted to use, man. So
look, I mean, this is part of the procedural generation, and you know, I wasn't planning on using shotguns either, right?
Yeah.
But I happened to be in the police office on Neon.
Oh, I haven't been to Neon yet.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I guarantee you've been to places I haven't been, and I guarantee vice versa.
Yeah. I started painting the map on one side, so going and visiting everything. So yeah,
Hey, it's gonna you're in
I'm not
for
going to be able to do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Fortunately, they're not like the universe is coming to a close. It's like no, actually, it's not. It's just bring us this stuff. It's
fine.
When you can.
That is nice. It's not like Red Dead. So, like, Red Dead 2 is always like, oh, he'll be waiting for you in Saint Denis. And it's like, what do you mean by waiting? Do you mean, like, he wants me there tomorrow? Or, you know?
I mean, the fucking units of the units of time are different on the place where you are. So I think it's not
right.
really.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just taking that into effect. But yeah, there's just this component of, all right, so you told me to go talk to this prisoner. I can't get to him, or I can't figure out how to get to him.
Uh-huh.
Like, well, I'm about to give up on this. So I go in the little security office, and I'm like, well, you guys have, like, shotguns mounted on the wall. Look at that thing. And the dumbass script on the guy that's in there is like, well, I'm going to walk here, and then out of the office for a few seconds. I'm like,
yoink.
I'm like, you're doing this on purpose.
Right.
So, you know, of course, the
What is it, contraband now?
well, because the whole thing was like, well, is it heavy? Then it's expensive. So I was just
Put him back.
that was the whole thing, was like, all right, well, I'm gonna take these. I'm gonna walk down the street. All right, I'm gonna file the serial numbers off and resell them to General Mercantile or whatever. And I was like, oh, I gotta make some cash. But then I pull it up there, I look at the numbers, and I'm like, are you serious on this?
Yeah.
And then I went out there on a safari and having no shotgun experience, and I'm going up to this living rock, and I just, it just came up to me. It's like, hey man, you want to join the Unitarian Church? And I'm like, nah. And so I just put a couple of shells. And I'm like, wow, this thing's great. So I have certs on like all of the top like weapon things because all I had to do was like blow away 20 flies or whatever.
Yeah, but you still have to spend a point to unlock them. So
You do,
yeah.
and that's where I don't know if I get 50 points.
Yeah.
If I get 20 points.
That's why I was a little
If I
bit
get
careful with that
200
one.
points.
I kind of took it as it is a Todd Howard game. And so, I was like, all right, so the guy that I picked, I think he made me start with pistol. So, or something.
Oh, okay.
I can't
Yeah.
remember which
Yeah.
one I did. So, but anyway, if I did start over, I know exactly which one I'd do different. I'd do more of the engineering shit because that stuff takes a long time to get. So, and there's the one that's like research methods. You have to get that one.
I don't have it.
Yeah, I know. It's on the top. You need to get it ASAP because that's where you start unlocking blueprints. So, but anyway.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I'm playing as a fucking lunkhead. And
Yes. So, yeah. But anyway, I mean, it's still, like, interesting, but I was, like, where was I going? I was going, so it's a Todd Howard game, and so I was like, all right, so crafting is going to be better than, like, finding down the road.
Sure. Yeah.
All his games work like that. So, I was like, what do I need to get in order to start unlocking statistics where I can start figuring things out? But then I looked at it and like, so I started modding a couple weapons. So, and it's exactly like Fallout in that thing. And they're like, okay, so there's like 6 different things you can change. So,
if not more. I mean,
some of them are more, yeah.
And the spacesuits and everything else, too.
I know. I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. I got lucky. I found a really good spacesuit early. I think it was just random, but...
Did you find it in the lodge? Because there's... Again, this is...
No, I didn't find it in the lodge.
Okay. There's crap in the lodge. I mean, that was the thing.
Did you steal it?
It's yours.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the other thing, was like, I need some cash, so...
Do you like the lockpicks?
No.
Okay.
I hate them to death.
Yeah, they're... They're not near as much fun as the bobby pins.
They're not, and more to the point, they feel like those... They feel more like those word salad fucking puzzles where you look for like TION and then there's a whole bunch of like ASCII Jesus fish and dots and all this other stupid shit. It feels more like those because I'm like, all right. In theory, like I see the rows here. I'm like, so you want me to save this for here, here, and here, but it doesn't work that way.
No.
It's like, this sucks. All you're doing is making me break picks. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And I'm not enough of a completionist to go back and say, like, I left something in that safe.
Oh, no, man. This game is way too fucking big to do that. I saw that almost right away. Just like that first time when they have you exploring, like, what was it? You go to the space station out by the moon. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've done that one yet, but actually that was that first big mission. You do that where you track that dude down. So, but anyway.
I've done it.
And that annoying British chick is with you the entire time. So,
we're married now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you just
ask her.
It's like a, again, this
I didn't know you could do that in this game.
But I don't think they were necessarily married. It's like some core. I don't know. But
you get a civil union. We're faith married.
Well, it's she's like the first companion that came along. I got rid of the robot, and she's like, "Well, I want you to take me on this thing." And the game has loyalty missions essentially, which is
it does,
right.
Yeah.
But all you do is the game's weird in the sense where it's not. If you remember, like the old Baldur's Gate games and Knights of the Old Republic, you used to have to harass your party members every now and then. You just like you hit the A button and it's like, "Hey, you got a minute to talk?" Right? And they'd sit there and say like, "Well, I had a wife and kid once, and the Sith came and killed them, and I've been in this
and the children.
I've been in this depressive funk, and if you can help me." Get the medallion of my son's, tuberculosis, whatever. He'd tell you some sob story. You'd help him go straighten out. And then he'd, say like, well, I don't feel depressed anymore. I'm your buddy. Now I have new stats. And this thing.
Oh, Dragon Age did that too.
Yeah, they'll bother you. They'll be like, hey, I need to talk about something. I don't know. And the whole thing about this is if you just say whatever option is not be a flipping dick, right?
Yeah.
They go from like, okay, well, to me, this has been like 3 hours.
Right.
And you're like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. Like, well, I've known you 3 game hours.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. 3 game hours.
It's like, your progression on this feels incredibly unnatural. I can see why we have a generation of males that doesn't quite understand human relationships.
Yeah, no, I can see that too. Yeah, they don't all work like that. Yeah, no.
I'm like, there's no version of this where the person actually looks at you and is like, well, did you see what I made in the character creator? It's like, you wouldn't talk to me.
You wouldn't talk
like,
to me.
And in the real life, you're like, you seem nice, but you got to be 6'2" or higher. I'm like, oh, well, all right, well, that settles that, right? There's no version of that. It's just, if you take me here and do these things for me, I am now in love with you. I'm like, you guys have got to stop with this.
Yeah, you gotta knock that off. Yeah.
This you all have been doing this for a long time.
Well, it's ever since The Sims. It goes back to then, where all you have to do is just do blah 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 blah, hug, blah 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 blah, hug, and he's like, all right, we're at 99 now. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, all I did was I picked the answers where I'm just saying like, well, I wouldn't be a jerk.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's just like, well, I feel bad about the situation because it gives you 4 options. It's like, well, tell me more about this. That wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
You're shit as a captain.
Right. So I
kill yourself.
Yeah. Suicide yourself. Yeah. No.
Unlife yourself. Yeah.
Unlife. Like, yeah. No, I've definitely seen games with worse dialogue. So, but this one. So the dialogue, it seems like every time you get like a 4 choice, it's like 3 relatively nice, but maybe one of them's a little kidding. Yeah. And then one is like, you fuck off and get away from me, kind of thing.
Right.
And so, like, I mean, okay, so I didn't realize those were like loyalty quests because I did have a couple of those people come up to me and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm busy, I'll talk to you later.
I'm sure the robot will do that for you too. I'm sure he'll...
Robot's my buddy, man, whatever is like Vasco or whatever. So I don't even bring him with me most of the time unless I know I'm going to be collecting a lot of shit. So, but I just leave him there, and like he hangs out by the ship. But I had people like in the beginning of the game where I was collecting a crew of like 4 or 5 people, and I was like, "Well, we gotta leave somebody because my ship only holds 2." So it's like, "Well, this is that you guys don't do anything." So...
There's one other. So there's one other glitch in this game, and I'm going to finish on this because I find this hilarious. I don't know what side quest this guy was a part of. Mm-hmm. But there's a dude who's labeled survivalist.
I haven't seen him.
Okay. He said, he was in trouble.
I think I saw him in the bar. Does he have a black helmet?
Oh, no. This dude was out there in the wild. Okay.
Just out there.
Yeah, and he's sitting there holding his ankle or whatever, whatever sign of like injury is. So you walk up to him and it's like, I'm incredibly injured. Can you help me? I'm like, yes, have a med pack. He's like, all right. Can you help me? I'm like, sure, no problem. He's like, all right. So just, I told him, I was like, we'll go run back to your ship. He's like, I'll stick with you, right? Take me back to my ship. I don't know where his ship is.
So he's just part
He's on my ship.
Is he actually part of your crew?
No.
Oh, he's just there.
He stands. He's in the actual like workroom. Uh-huh. He doesn't move. He just stands there, and when I come up to him, he just says,
That's interesting. There are some glitches. So
of course,
there are some. It's not as glitchy as some of the other games. It's not like Cyberpunk.
No, look, dude. When you buy one of these games, you know there's jank.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, there has definitely been some jank. So,
all right, there's always jank. There's always some kind of jank where you got separated from your partner. The cutscene is going. You're talking to somebody. And they will be running faster than the fucking Flash and appear in your cutscene, and it'll be weird, right? Or they will be talking while they're walking away, or whatever, right? Yeah. It's not quite like the
T-pose them on a motorcycle.
No, it's not like that, and it's not like the glitched out ones where like Trevor is trying to talk to Franklin, but he was in a fight beforehand.
Right, yeah.
So some dude just keeps whooping his ass during the cutscene.
Or watching a fucking Cougars maul. Fucking Landon Ricketts while you're going through the dialogue option with Marston. Yeah. So,
He just keeps getting wrecked.
Wrecked, yeah, in the background.
So yeah, it's not quite like that. It's also not. Did you ever see the infamous Oblivion drowners?
They came out of the water, right?
No. Okay, so Oblivion had one check against like totally botching the game. Was
okay.
Most NPCs are completely killable.
Okay.
Right? Okay, they're just useless. They're fine.
Yeah.
The game knows that. But there are a couple of quest NPCs, right, that can essentially be killed, right?
Yeah.
But the game knows that you'll soft lock it if you fuck this up. So they'll die, right, for all intents and purposes, but there's a hard check on this where they will come back to life, okay, after a short period of time.
Okay.
Right? Like, all right, that makes sense. All right. So what happens if you talk to one of these quest NPCs and you say, all right, hey, follow me. You say, okay, no problem. All right. Take him to the water.
Uh-oh.
They're going to run out of HP because they're going to drown. Right? And what will happen is every 15 seconds or so, the game will check and say, like, oh, I've got this dead quest NPC. I'd better bring them back to life. But they're in the water.
Oh, so they don't go back to their start location?
No. In fact, what they'll do is they'll respawn with like one hit point.
Oh, no.
And so, yeah, what happens is you have these corpses that are just...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I was thinking of something else, but yeah, no, I can see how that would definitely be a problem. So, I don't know if I've run into an issue exactly like that in the game, but we'll see. We'll see what Starfield has in store for us, man.
Yeah, I'm liking the experience, but again, the answer for me is like, I don't know why, I just am.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think this is just going to be... Pat, the feeling I have in my gut is like, there will be some point, it's like cities, it's like, some point I'll be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll have finished it. I don't
know, man. I think for me, a lot of it is the genre. So I would really wanted to play No Man's Sky, but it had such bad reviews when it first came out that I got scared off of it. I was playing other shit at the time. This one just hit at a point in time where I just wrapped up another whole like thing that I was doing. So, and I was kind of itching for something. In fact, like that first week, the only thing I could use was my joystick. So I was actually like, man, I'm going to get TIE Fighter. So, and it kind of hit the sweet spot. And I was like, wait a minute. That game comes out tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed now. So,
well, look, I'm also... this is something I forgot to check. Is I still have a Game Pass subscription. This is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I paid a lot for mine. So it was not cheap. So,
I just checked. I was like, is this on there?
That's awesome. I canceled my Game Pass. So, oh well. It's okay though, man. So I did the same thing with Cities already. So I was like, no, give me the pre-order. I want the San Francisco ship.
You know,
so,
okay, no, that's fine.
I know I'm going to put the money in there. So guys, take my money.
Here's the other thing, and this is the other thing about Starfield, is like, you're right. You just finished up a game, and I just grinded my way up to diamond ranking in Street Fighter 6. I'm like, I'm okay.
Okay, yeah.
I need a game that's not this. Yep. And this is exactly it.
I just got done playing a train game, and I was like, I need something that's not trains. So, and I want something completely different. I haven't played one of these big, like, open world games in a couple of years.
Nope, me neither.
I played The Witcher last year.
You did, and you know what?
It was fine.
And the content, the DLC for Cyberpunk is out, and I hear it's fantastic.
God, I kind of want to play that.
I do too,
yeah.
but
I can wait.
Like, this is the thing, is like I'd be switching from like one type of cake to a different kind of cake.
Yeah,
that's my problem. Is I'm like, actually, I need to this has to be solved with fried chicken.
Right. Yeah. No, that's Skylines, man. We've only got like a month and a half. So,
Fuck.
Yeah, I know. So time to go home and play Starfield.
There you go. All right.
Anyway, I'm Pat.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Yeah.
We're gonna go play Starfield.
We are.